Hello, I am Achal Chopra from Chopra Classes. You are all welcome to my class of English language. If you like this video, please like it. If you have not subscribed to it, kindly subscribe it. Nine Gold Medals is the poem by David Roth, which I am taking up in this video. It describes an incident at the Special Olympics. Special Olympics is an Olympics which is not conventional, but for differently abled contestants. They had all gathered for the race, and as the race begins, the youngest contestant falls on the track. He's crying in pain, and he had lost all the hopes of winning the medal. 8 other contestants stopped the race, showed compassion towards him, came running to him, and picked him up from the track, held him. They walked hand in hand all together to the final line. It was a special occasion of human compassion. It celebrates the spirit of collaboration, kindness, and human compassion. The stanza number 1. The athletes had come from so many countries to run for the gold, the silver, the bronze, many weeks and months of training, all building up to the games. It was a huge international event for which the athletes had come from various countries. 9 athletes were selected not only to participate in it, but claim the gold, the silver, and bronze medals. Medals symbolize here the top 3 positions. They had worked hard with weeks and months of rigorous and strenuous training that made them reach at this position. Here the poet uses a figurative language, metonymy, that is, a situation in which one term is substituted for another. Just like the gold medal, the silver medal, the bronze medal. Above all, it was not a conventional Olympics, as I said earlier, but special Olympics of differently abled contestants. Slide number 2. All around the field, spectators gathered, cheering in all the young women and men. Then the final event of the day was approaching, the last race about to begin. A huge audience had gathered round the field. That included sports enthusiasts, officials, supporters, friends, relatives, and family members of the participants. Spectators means persons who come there to watch the show. That cheering crowd was motivating all the young women and men athletes. They were fully excited. The day of the final event had reached. Other races had been completed. The last event of the Special Olympics was about to begin now. Stanza number 3. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners, the 100 meters, the race to be run, and 9 young athletes stood there determined and poised for the sound of the gun. Here, poised is focused and confident. As usual, the announcement of the names of 100-meter race was made in the loudspeakers, as well as the names of the athletes participating. 9 young athletes, men and women, stood at the respective places of takeoff on the track. Takeoff is that point on the track from where the race begins. All of them were waiting for the sound of the gun. They were confidently focused and determined to take up the challenge. The poet has used auditory sound images The announcement on the loudspeakers and the pistols gunshot, these are all auditory. And the last two lines of the stanza, and 9 young athletes stood there determined and poised for the sound of the gun. They present a visual image of the athletes ready for the challenge. Stanza number 4. The signal was given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. But the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees on the ground. So their positions were checked. The signal was given. As soon as the handkerchief was waved, the pistol exploded. On hearing the sound, all participating burst forward with full energy. But is underlined here. But what happened? Here is a twist in the story. The youngest participant stumbled and staggered. Stumbled, given the annotation here, tripped or momentarily lose one's balance, almost fall. And stagger is to walk or move unsteadily as if about to fall. Being the youngest, he was not as strong as the other. He fell on his knees to the ground. Here the pistol's explosion and the runners shouting forward present a sound imagery. And very beautiful one, the formation of a word from a sound for literary effect is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. That is, the pistol exploded. The word exploded contains the explosion in itself. Stanza number 5. He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. But as sure as I am standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here's what occurred. The youngest athlete cried in pain. It was a physical and mental pain. Cry of frustration, feeling of being upset. Anguish is this pain, mental and physical. But, again, but is underlined. As a speaker or the narrator tells the story, it's a strange one. But here's what happened. What happened? His dreams and hopes of victory were dying with him. His hopes and expectations were dashed to the ground. As he falls, the emotions run high and touch the crisis level. What's going to come now is another twist in the story, or say anticlimax of the story. In this stanza, the poet uses a poetic device, alliteration, on which a consonant sound is repeated. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. The sound of D, dreams, dashed, and dirt. In 3 words, the consonant sound is repeated. So this is alliteration. The 8 other athletes stopped in the tracks. The ones who had trained for so long to compete, one by one they turned round and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet. Now the unbelievable happened. The 8 other athletes stopped on their tracks. They had also trained themselves for several months to compete for this event. One by one, they turned around, went back to help him. It was a praiseworthy gesture. They lifted the lad because he was the youngest fellow. The youngest of them, it was an exemplary show of unity, solidarity, and compassion. Stanza 7. Then all 9 runners joined hands and continued. The 100 meters reduced to a walk, and the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark. It's the climax of the event. Giving a good gesture, all 9 runners walked in solidarity, hand in hand, and continued the 100 meters, now reduced to a walk of unity. There was no competition among them. About 100 yards distance was still left to be covered. It seemed they were made for each other. They reached the final line in collaboration with each other. It was an exemplary show of understanding and humanity. These were the special athletes at Special Olympics. A banner above them said Special Olympics. This is a visual image of courage. And here we find repetition of a line, that is refrain, at the end of the poem. Let's see. Stanza number 8. That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still, and the banner above and 9 smiling faces said more than these words ever will, said more than these words ever will. The historic race ended heroically. All the 9 athletes won 9 gold medals. They reached the final line holding each other's hands. The banner above them and 9 smiling faces expressed what the words failed to say. All were the winners. They exemplified human values and won the race of life. There was joy, pride, and confidence on their faces. It was a victory of human values. A very simple poem with a powerful message. Many of the poetic devices I have already told you in imagery. There is auditory images I have explained in the poem, visual images all given here. Spectators cheering, banner of Special Olympics rising high, the runners stumbled, last 2 lines of stanza 3, banner of Special Olympics. Refrain I was talking about, a line or a group of lines in a poem or a song that is repeated at the end of a stanza, in a poem or in a song for emphasis. So in this poem, the last 2 lines of the last stanza said more than these words ever will, said more than these words ever will. Alliteration, I told you. Onomatopoeia, I have told you. Hyperbole, it is to be explained. Hyperbole is exaggeration. You exaggerate a thing. The pistol exploded, and so did the runners. Metonymy is already figurative language. I told you that refers to a situation in which one term is substituted for another with which it is associated. They were associated with the medals, the gold, the silver, and bronze medals. So if you like this poem, kindly like it and subscribe to it so that my other videos will reach to you directly. Thank you.